All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. And in this video, we are going to talk about two of the biggest names in boxing, Errol Spence Jr. and Canelo Alvarez. And Errol Spence Jr. takes a big shot at Canelo Alvarez protectors after another fighter gets pops dirty for illegal substances. And man, I'm really glad he said it. Let's talk about that. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in 147 and 168 pound division at the same time. We're the three belt holder at 147 pounds had something to say about situations surrounding another fighter named MICHELE RIVERA and the treatment of Canelo Alvarez. Now, before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also, if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter to the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. It really does make a big difference in the channel as far as the super thanks and videos like this. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support. But let's get into this, man. Applause for Errol Spence Jr., okay, who says something that a lot of people in his position would not say. And let me explain what his position is and then what he said. He is one of the biggest draws in boxing and a guy that has in the past talked about how much he would like to fight Canelo Alvarez when he gets up to 160, 164 pounds. But it was a fight that Errol Spence Jr. said he would love to get. Canelo Alvarez is one of the biggest, is the biggest draw in the sport of boxing right now, without a doubt, and is somebody in the boxing world that really exists, from my observation, in his own set of rules. If he doesn't want to doesn't want to fight somebody, no matter what the fighter's record is or what position he's in, he doesn't have to fight him. And everybody just says, well, he just doesn't deserve it. He can test positive for illegal substances and then have people just act like it never happened. He can lose fights to Floyd Mayweather Jr. and people turn around and say, oh, well, it really just taught him and made him that much greater, right? It just doesn't matter what he does. Everything is going to be golden as long as it involves him. And I think that is a very safe thing to say, that he literally is above the rules of boxing. This man tested positive for something, and then the WBC raised the level specifically of what he tested positive for above the levels that he tested positive for it, and made it legal. Basically made it legal for the with the WBC belt for what he did, which was illegal, made it legal for him. But Errol Spence Jr., wanted to fight with him, and he takes the time to criticize boxing. Because what happens? MICHELE RIVERA, who fought a fighter that Errol Spence Jr. promoted by the name of Frank Martin, who was is a top lightweight. Both of them are top lightweights. MICHELE RIVERA tests positive for two substances that are not legal, right? One was, I do believe they were related to blood pressure medications and were the same things that Luis Ortiz had in his system before Luis Ortiz fought Deontay Wilder for the first time. So what Errol Spence Jr. says is, look, you guys swept this guy's stuff under the rug, and he had not just Canelo Alvarez in the picture, he had Eddie Reynoso in the picture, who also had, and I don't recall all of the names of the different boxers that were with him that at one point in time popped dirty for something. But he said, if you're going to sweep Eddie Reynoso and Canelo Alvarez and the guys around him, sweep all that under the rug, then you need to sweep what's under the rug for MICHELE RIVERA under the rug as well. Why are you going to have two different standards for two different people? And that's why I say I applaud Errol Spence for saying that, because that's the truth. And people are constantly talking about what's good for boxing, what's bad for boxing. And then they look at a guy that literally almost anything that you can associate with bad for boxing is associated with him. And I'm not saying he's not an excellent fighter. He is an excellent fighter. I was a big fan of Canelo Alvarez. But the fact of the matter is, if you complain about people not making big matches, then dude, Canelo Alvarez isn't doing those. Canelo Alvarez, when he was fighting Gennady Golovkin, or he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr., the first time they did over 1 million pay-per-views. Canelo Alvarez then leaves in an established network in the U.S., goes over to DAZN to literally fight nobody over there at DAZN and fight nobody in front of nobody, right? Because nobody even knows what DAZN, no people outside of very, very hardcore boxing fans even know what DAZN is. So even right there, when you talk about why aren't these big fights being made, you have the biggest star of boxing that literally went on an app that nobody has. None of those fights that he had over there at DAZN were big fights. And they couldn't be big fights because there was nobody there to watch them, right? His pay-per-view numbers were down. His gates were down. All of that. But he got guaranteed money from DAZN to do it. But does anybody talk about that? No, they talk about how Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford didn't make a big fight because networks and promoters get in the way. But yet Canelo does the same thing, and he does it over an extended period of time, and not a peep about that. Then you have, obviously, the issue with illegal substances. A guy like Jarrell Big Baby Miller, right? Test pops for something, throw him completely and utterly underneath the bus. Like he's the worst thing ever. He should never be able to fight again. I'm telling you, these are people that when it happened to Canelo, didn't say a word. But when it's Jarrell Big Baby Miller, boom. Oh, this is a big problem. Even when you have Floyd Mayweather Jr., who, according to, I think it was Steve Kim that said it, had an IV, right? And don't tell me that it's about the size of the fight. No, it's not. It can't even be all about money because they didn't treat Floyd Mayweather Jr. like that. And Floyd Mayweather Jr. is a much bigger fights and a much bigger fan base than Canelo Alvarez had. It's just something about Canelo that is just having these people just bend over so far for this guy under the hopes that maybe, I guess, eventually they'll fight a fighter of theirs or don't want to isolate his fan base. Something has got to change about this guy, man. And I'm just happy that Errol Spence Jr. says something about it because, man, now he didn't go take a shot specifically at, but I mean, he did take a shot because he said, look, you swept this under the rug for these guys. Sweep it under the rug for him too. If you're going to do something, man, let the rules be equal for everybody. Because if you make special rules for that guy, then it's not about the sport. It's about Canelo. And people are not professional Canelo. They're not in the professional Canelo league. They're in the boxing. They're in the professional world of boxing. And this just ridiculous amount of favoritism and one-sided treatment and hypocritical approaches and analysis to the same situation. It's just over the top. And I'm really glad that Errol Spence Jr. said that. Anyway, that's my take on the matter because I'm going to tell you right now, ain't nobody else. I mean, even with it happened also, I guess it also happened with Tyson Fury as well, where people are acting like Tyson Fury did not pop dirty. But even then with him over there in the UK, he went through a lot of stuff. They didn't change any rules for him. With Canelo, it's like, hold on, man, if something goes wrong with Canelo, the problem isn't Canelo, the problem is boxing. Canelo gets caught speeding at, in his Ferrari down a residential street, right, at 100 miles an hour. Oh, and gets caught speeding. Oh, the problem isn't Canelo. The problem is we need to widen these houses out, and we need to get rid of these speed limits because these speed limits, it's inhibiting Canelo's ability to do what he wants to do. And we all know Canelo's what's most important. It's not consistency. It's not the community. It's Canelo. It's ridiculous, man. Franchise belts developed for the man. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm inventing on this Canelo stuff because it's just everybody keeps talking about what's bad for boxing, and everything that you guys say is bad about boxing, I can find an example with him. And not just him doing it, but people literally supporting it. The best not fighting the belt. Where'd the franchise belt come from? Networks getting in the way of fights, and what networks not working together to get fights. He goes hides on DAZN. Rampant cheating. He gets caught on performance enhancing stuff. So, but all of it is it's like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil when it comes to him. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.